Hello, I'm Mark Baer, and you're watching the YourTown television program. And I'm very pleased today to have with me Louis Lebherz, international opera singer, and we're going to talk about the Ollie program.
The Ollie program.
Hello there, Louis.
Hello, Mark. The Ollie program is something I didn't know about till I came to the Monterey Peninsula. And I belong to this thing called the Old Man's Democrat Club. We have lunch every 2 weeks. Now we're called the Old Man's Book Club. But, we still... Anyway, one of them is a professor at the Ollie program, which stands for Oster Lifelong Learning Institute. And it's an organization that was founded by a gentleman, a philanthropist in the Bay Area, and it brings college-level courses to people over the age of 55. And you have professors that teach there, artists, you have opera singers on occasion, and but there's no tests, there's no grades, and the response is amazing. You know, the people are so enthusiastic, and of course they don't cut class, which is great. Usually we'll do, you can do as many as 6 in a semester. We do them at Cal State Monterey Bay, as I said, but we meet out at the Ryan Ranch at their annex, which used to belong to the Monterey Peninsula Herald, I think. Anyway, so I was asked by this fellow who was a member of our Old Man's Democrat Club if I would be interested in meeting with the girl who runs the program, a lovely lady by the name of Michelle Crompton, lives in Pacific Grove, and so we spoke, and she said yes. And what I suggested, and which I teach now, is a series called Prepare to Meet Your Opera. And as a lot of your listeners know, the New York Metropolitan Opera in New York, of course, has started a program in the last 15 years or so of high-definition films live shown around the world of operas on Saturday morning. So what I do is on the Thursday before that Saturday, I'll pick 2 or 3 of those per semester, and I will come in and I will prepare a 2-hour lecture. And I mean, like the next one, for example, is going to be Norma, which is in October. And it's not like Der Rosenkavalier, which you can talk for 2 hours just about Richard Strauss and the singers. Norma is an opera that you can sum up in 2 words, bel canto, which one of my professors at Indiana University years ago referred to as the decadent era of opera, because nothing happens. It's just beautiful singing. So, for example, on this one that's coming up, I'll spend probably 15 minutes talking about the opera and talking about what is bel canto. The art of bel canto is something that happened in the first half of the 19th century. It had been going on probably for 200 years. The idea was that it was the beauty of the singing that made the opera happen. And it reached its highest peak with Bellini, who was from Sicily, and also from Taormina, I think.
So what are the years of this?
I would say this opera that we're going to do is from like 1835. I would say, Bellini, and then the other one is Donizetti. Bellini didn't live very long. Bellini was born, I think, something like 1802 and died in 1837. Of course, musicologists will find my mistakes on that, but it's a ballpark. So, and then what happened is, as opera got into the middle of the 19th century, especially with Giuseppe Verdi and that, the tenors started to lean on their voices more, and it became much more dramatic. And it really changed. Well, it kind of wiped out the whole bel canto thing, because you could listen to somebody singing very beautifully like a bird, or you could listen to somebody singing with emotion like a controlled scream. And so that was sort of the end of it. But that period of opera is still really respected if it's done correctly by the real stylists. In my time, the ones that really specialized in that were Marilyn Horne, the mezzo, Joan Sutherland, of course, very, very famous bel canto singer, Australian, and Luciano Pavarotti was the greatest tenor I ever heard. I only sang with him one time, but it was, when he sang, it was like nothing you ever heard. It just came out of him like, I had a teacher who said it best. He said, it's like pouring out warm honey. How does he do that? So anyway, I will talk about bel canto in this one. maybe for an hour and play excerpts of Sutherland and Pavarotti, maybe some excerpts from Norma and so forth. My manager in New York will see that opera the week before when it premieres at the Metropolitan Opera, and he'll send me the reviews that come out and so forth. So I kind of have a little bit of a head start.
Great.
Yeah.
So this is such a, for people who haven't taken advantage of this, and you and I have gone several times to the Del Monte Theater on a Saturday morning, just kind of casually with our cup of Starbucks to walk into this full New York Met live production. And it's a different kind of hybrid animal because, again, we've watched opera for years on tape. That taping an opera is not a new thing, but this is a new art form where they're really making the cameras,
the close-ups, and so forth.
The cameras working, so the whole production design is built in for the camera, and it's not just an afterthought. It's a really kind of a new art form that they're developing.
It's changed opera. It's changed opera for a couple of very important reasons. One, the emphasis now is on the beauty of the singers, physical beauty. They don't want to show, let's just say the fat lady has sung, and so it's on Body Beautiful. Now that immediately limits the number of people who can be opera singers at that level. And now they've actually taken for the first time to amplifying singers, to amplifying some of the opera singers. It's kind of hidden a little bit and subtle, but it's there, and that's a shame in a way, I suppose, but it's keeping opera alive. I mean,
it's so it's how else is it going to pay for itself, basically?
Really,
yeah.
So let's go back to this period, the bel canto period. The emphasis was on the singers. Then it got into the second half of the 19th century. You have Wagner, you have Verdi, you have all of the Italian composers and the French composers, Berlioz and Bizet and so forth, turning out all this music. The composer became the king, Then as it got into the 20th century, the conductor, Toscanini, who's the one that did Fantasia? The conductor did Fantasia was the one with the long hair. Anyway, it was that kind of. Then it got into the directing. The directors became the kings, and they began to be in charge. Now it's the television people are the one that's so opera has really changed.
It's always evolving, always changing.
I don't know if it's evolving. I think,
changing.
Yeah, I think that it's just getting older. And one of these days, I don't know, there's still some pretty good new operas out there that are coming out. Probably more now in the first half of this century than in the last half of the last century. So it's interesting to watch.
And so you'll be teaching that, and then you'll do Magic Flute.
That comes the very next week. Norma is October 5th. We do them on Thursday mornings, and then the second one is the Magic Flute. This is another opera that's a very interesting opera. People know about the Magic Flute, and I've decided I'm going to be talking just about the first half of that, about the show and the symbolism, so forth, and the relationship to what are those lodges called? The ones where they wear the rings and. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, I'll be talking about that. But I've not hired because I'm not paying them, but I have 3 young singers that I'm preparing. The tenor is going to sing 2 arias from it. I have this beautiful 24-year-old soprano that's going to sing Pamina's aria from the second act. And then I have another lady who's, she's a talent agent out in Salinas, of all places. And she's going to sing the Queen of the Night's 2 arias. So that'll take up the second half of the program. So it varies. The third one that we're going to do this year is a brand new opera by Thomas Ade, which is called The Exterminating Angel, based on a really interesting film from 1962 by Buñuel. Is that his name?
Buñuel.
Buñuel, right, Buñuel. And for that one, I'll have my partner, who's away right now, Maestro Stuart Robertson, who is a very fine conductor, but now he also lives here on the peninsula, and he will talk about it structurally and so forth. And we'll really give them. We'll just talk that whole time about Ade and about that particular.
So Stuart's he's Scottish. Let's talk about a little bit. He's Scottish, is that correct?
He's extraordinary.
Yeah, let's talk about him a little bit.
All right, Stuart Robertson. Stuart Robertson went to the London school. Was educated in London. He was a very highly regarded pianist and conductor. He then got a job working and doing the ballets and being a conductor at the Zurich Opera. Then he came to America. Like I sang for the first time, not the first time, but early in my career at Hidden Valley, out in the Carmel Valley. Used to have an opera company out there with Peter Meckel. He still does operas out there. And that was the season when there was a CETA grant from Carter, Comprehensive Employment Training Act. So he was able to hire singers and an orchestra, and we did like a 5-month season. We did 5 operas. It was extraordinary. Randall Baer was the conductor. Well, the second year, I left and moved to New York. The second year, he brought in this young conductor from Scotland, Stuart Robertson, who was extraordinary. And Stuart then began to conduct at Glimmerglass, which is a very fine summer festival in New York, and was there for so many years, like 25 years. He's legendary there. And he also became the conductor of the Miami Opera. And he's a great friend. Unfortunately, he's become a little bit ill as he's the same age as I am. We're both, I would say middle 60s, but I turned 69, so I guess I'm in my late 60s now. And we're both the same age. And so Stuart had to retire before he wanted to. And he lives out in Carmel Valley with his wife, Meryl. And they also have a place in Scotland, which is where he is. He spends his summers in Scotland. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, well, it's just so. And then let's talk about. What did you teach last year? This is your second year. Is that correct?
Yeah, the first year that I was there was last year, and the first thing we did was Don Giovanni, which was an opera I know very, very well. We had a really good time with that one, Stuart and I. And the second one that we did was Der Rosenkavalier by Richard Strauss, a very complicated opera, and we had a really great time with that. The interesting thing about this class is that it's listed in the pamphlet, for Ollie, which comes out 2 or 3 months before, and our particular class sells out in like a week.
Wow.
They only have so many seats they can have. I think they sell 50. Or maybe they overbook it like an airline because sometimes people are away and so forth.
Yeah.
But there's always an enthusiastic audience. The same people, lovely questions. They laugh. They enjoy.
People know a lot here, and then they show up on Saturday morning to watch to see the opera.
Yeah. There's a lot of really interesting classes. Like mine is opera. I have another person there who teaches a thing called Tackling the Hard Ones, and he takes books, that you normally would say. People ask you if you read it, and you say yes, but you really didn't, because it was that kind of a book,
Yeah.
And they'll work their way through that book in a course of 3 or 4 weeks, And Todd Sampras is teaching a class this semester on, I think, symphonic works that did not become famous that were worthy to become famous.
Now I love Todd, and if you don't know who he is, he's with the
Symphony.
He's with the Monterey Symphony, but he is like the understudy of the conductor, or how do you say that? As assistant conductor?
I don't know. I've never known him as a conductor. I know that he's the one.
But he gives the pre-lecture speeches.
Exactly, and he's very good.
And he's really good.
Yeah. He has a doctorate in musicology.
Yeah.
So he's a very interesting character.
So so this is quite a little treasure trove, and this is fairly affordable.
It's nothing. It's like $65 to take my classes, or even less, and plus, if you know me, I can get you in for free.
So why is it not open just to everybody? Why for older learning? Or is that just how they set it up?
Well, we don't want those whippersnappers in there, with their chewing gum and their
You got a point.
Yeah, and their cell phones.
Yeah, yeah, you got a point.
Yeah.
So this is great. And then when do you have to sign up? How do you find out about all this?
You can call Michelle Crompton, and
Okay.
you can contact her at www.csumb.olli.edu, and that will get you Michelle Crompton, and then you can get the information from her. She's very, very social and loves to talk, and we'll get right back to you with your.
And how long do these courses last usually?
They're normally 2 hours. I think they can be 3 hours. There's cooking.
But over.
Oh, they go by semesters.
Okay, so
They start towards the end of September and go to the middle of December, and the next one starts the end of, just like a college.
just like
Right.
Wow, what a treat.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who take a lot of those courses,
Yeah.
You can actually pay one fee and take as many courses as you want.
And how many years has this been going on? I know it's been.
I wish I had that information for you. I know it's been going on in Monterey for more than 5 or 6 years, at Cal State Monterey Bay, but I think the whole thing's been going on probably for a couple of decades, I would think,
And
I
then-
should have that information, but, I'm not here to sell them.
Yeah. So you get so someone like the New York Opera takes something on like Norma.
Yeah.
Which is how do they make that fresh? Because they pick these. I think because they want a challenge. They're always looking to repackage or make it fresh again.
Well, you have to do that, don't you?
Yeah.
If they have one that they really like, they may keep it in the rotation for 15 or 20 years. Some they'll just move in, move out if it didn't strike well. But that's the directors and the producers and the designers and so forth. There's always the hip new director and a new take. Maybe. The things they do with Wagner is just incredible. They might move something from one period into another period. I've seen Don Giovanni done in 20th century, that kind of a thing. They move it around.
Yeah, yeah. So we saw again. We saw Lulu this year.
Wasn't that great?
Which was absolutely mind blowing.
I think we were the only two people that saw both times.
Yeah, we went on the
Tuesday.
Saturday morning and the
Tuesday evening,
and the
yeah.
Tuesday evening,
Yeah.
and I was just blown away by what's happening. So this Saturday mornings. So anyway, we're gonna come back here, but I'm gonna say goodbye for now. So anyway, this is Mark Baer. I'm with Louis Lebherz. We're talking about the Ollie educational opportunity for you out there, and you're watching YourTown, and we'll be back.